The Mrs. South Africa organization has recently been drawn into a dispute with external parties, which has resulted in some rumors. I am here with the CEO of Mrs. South Africa to answer some really hard questions and address these allegations head on. Joani, what do you have to say to people that say Mrs. South Africa is a scam?
Nicole, these allegations are patently false, and I would like to use this opportunity to set the record straight. I have been running Mrs. South Africa for over 10 years now, and our aim is to offer married women a platform and a life transformation journey where they can truly learn how to be the best version of themselves. We are meticulous in ensuring that we are fully compliant with all financial laws and regulations.
But Joani, what about the allegations that Mrs. South Africa is a scam to enrich yourself and your friends?
Nicole, firstly, I would like to reiterate that Mrs. South Africa Pty Limited is a private company and not a non-profit organization. As a company, we utilize a sponsorship business model, which means that our income comes from sponsorships, fundraising, and events. The income is used to cover expenses such as venue fees, operational and production costs. And, during this past year, due to the global pandemic and the restrictions that came with it, we actually saw a significant drop in our income being in the event and entertainment industry. And our staff members, including myself, had to take salary cuts. We had to restructure in many ways as a company, so I find it very disheartening that such allegations are carelessly thrown around.
Is Mrs. South Africa a registered VAT vendor?
Yes, Mrs. SA is a registered VAT vendor, and we can provide records to this effect.
Tell me now a little bit more about Women for Women.
Women for Women is the chosen charity we support annually as the Mrs. South Africa organization. Women for Women is a registered non-profit organization that focuses on female empowerment, community upliftment, and youth education with the goal of improving the lives of previously disadvantaged girls and young women.
So why exactly did Mrs. South Africa choose Women for Women as their charity?
Women for Women's goals of educating and improving the lives of young women from previously disadvantaged backgrounds are a natural fit with Mrs. SA and speak to our shared values.
Is it not a conflict of interest for you to work for Mrs. South Africa and Women for Women?
Women for Women's work is a cause that is very close to my heart, but my role is serving as a non-executive board member and offering advice and counsel rather than being involved in any operations of Women for Women.
Do you get paid for this role, Joani?
I can categorically state, Nicole, that no Women for Women non-executive board member received any compensation for their time donated, and the records will also reflect this.
What work does Women for Women do exactly?
Women for Women is a registered NPO, and they do some amazing work. One of its recent projects, for instance, has been the whistleblower campaign to raise awareness for gender-based violence that we had ran through the Mrs. South Africa program as well. Women for Women has also been involved in developing and delivering life skill programs to schoolgirls in disadvantaged communities. And I've had the pleasure to actually be involved with those programs myself, and I've seen the difference firsthand that it makes in these girls' lives.
But I think people want to know, these donations that have been made, have they been paid into any personal bank accounts?
Nicole, I can categorically state that at no point has any fundraising money been paid into a personal bank account, and the records will once again reflect this.
Fundraising is a large part of the Mrs. South Africa contestant journey. How much money are contestants expected to raise?
So each semi-finalist is asked to find a silver sponsor willing to sponsor them 24,000 Rand plus VAT towards their journey within the program in return for the exposure our platform offers them. And then during the final stage of the competition, each finalist is also asked to find a gold sponsor that will sponsor 24,000 Rand plus VAT on their behalf. We do not allow for any contributions above this amount to prevent any allegations of undue influence in judging.
But what about the allegations that Mrs. South Africa provides no support whatsoever for these contestants in raising their sponsorship money?
Mrs. SA provides extensive training and upskilling workshops throughout the program in becoming an influencer, finding sponsors, becoming brand ambassadors, and entrepreneurial skills which extend far beyond the program. We also provide contestants with tools such as a professional sponsorship proposal, media kits to help them in approaching sponsors and companies, and we continue with these upskilling throughout the Mrs. South Africa program.
So I suppose the next logical question is, why should these contestants be raising money and contribute towards the income of Mrs. South Africa?
So again, as a registered company, Mrs. SA uses a sponsorship business model, which means that all our income comes from these sponsorships, fundraising and events. This income covers the cost of running this development program and providing these training and upskilling workshops for the contestants, and it also goes towards operational, event and production costs.
How exactly does the sponsorship model work? What are the contestants expected to do, and what's in it for the sponsors?
Mrs. SA's assets are our strong and talented women, and companies see the value in this, especially as we work with real, relatable women that act as brand ambassadors and understand the impact that they can have as influencers on social media. They are then willing to act as the sponsors' brand ambassadors, and these brands then come on board as our sponsors in return for the promotion, exposure and endorsements that we as a company can offer them at the end of the day.
And why do these women do it? What is in it for the contestants, and why should they want to go through this process?
We offer women a life transformation journey, and I've seen it over and over again. We teach Mrs. SA brand ambassadors how to become the best version of themselves and how to be a voice of change and to show up as strong, influential women. Our program has also been described as the MBA of life, giving women the chance to invest in their life skills and in themselves and develop their business skills and their networks. It's incredibly hard work, and most of it takes place behind the scenes, but we hear of incredible stories where women have been offered new jobs, new opportunities that they had gotten through their participation in Mrs. South Africa.
Are these contestants forced in any way to purchase products from the sponsors?
As official ambassadors of Mrs. SA, contestants are asked to endorse our sponsors and their products, and through various stages of the competitions, the sponsors do gift the contestants very generously with products and services as well. And at some of our events, our sponsors also get the opportunity to exhibit and sell their products to people attending these events, but this is in no way compulsory.
Do the contestants have to foot their own bills for flights and accommodation?
Semi-finalists are asked to cover their own travel and accommodation, which is stated up front in their operations manual and contracts, because there's 100 of them. But the cost of all finalists' transportation and accommodation during the final stages of the competition are covered by Mrs. South Africa and our sponsors. However, in 2020, a few ladies had raised concerns about sharing a room with another contestant because of the pandemic that we were in. And in these instances, we allowed them to then book a separate room or a single room at their own expense.
Tell us about the women that enter these competitions. They need to be between the ages of 25 and 50, mature, married woman. What kind of dignity is involved in a mature, married woman running around a golf course in a bikini?
We would never prescribe what contestants must wear to such events, and at no point have we ever requested our contestants to be on a golf course dressed in swimwear. And the record will reflect this. Contestants only wear swimwear during the judging process, which many ladies actually find empowering.
Tell me, I've been through that, but why would that be empowering, Joani?
So at Mrs. South Africa, we embrace women of all shapes and sizes, and our program promotes being comfortable in your own skin And for these women who, many of them have had children, to step out in a swimsuit on a stage or in front of judges are super empowering and just shows how confident they have become throughout this journey.
Well, not just swimwear. That seems to be a bone of contention, pushing people out of their comfort zones. The contestants sometimes say that it's long hours and hard work and can affect their families.
Nicole, once again, Mrs. South Africa truly offers women a life transformation journey geared towards upskilling, growing, and becoming the best versions of themselves. It is a lot of hard work, yes, and our contestants have to be prepared to put the time in. We're very upfront about this and explain very clearly what is involved for the contestants, and they can then decide whether they feel ready to participate. But having said that, I just would like to add that yes, it's hard work, and yes, you're going to be pushed out of your comfort zone, but at the end of the day, that is how you grow.
Joani, there have even been some allegations that you've not been COVID compliant around events.
We pride ourselves on strict adherence to all government rules and regulations, including COVID-19 regulations, which we take very seriously. We also work with highly prestigious venues that would not risk their reputations by breaking any of these regulations.
Now, Joani, tell us about the prizes that get sponsored.
Nicole, our prizes are dependent on sponsorships, and they are certainly not always guaranteed. This last year, the pandemic brought most businesses under pressure and sponsors were watching budgets. So for instance, a car was not on the price list, unfortunately, this past year. But having said that, we always do try to get the best prizes possible for our contestants as well as for our winners. And the prize package for our winners is always very substantial.
As somebody who has herself stood on a Mrs. World stage, a recent post suggested that no Mrs. South Africa winners attend the Mrs. World contest.
Nicole, with the exception of last year's Mrs. World pageant, which got cancelled due to the global pandemic, Mrs. SA's winners have attended Mrs. World every single year. In fact, we actually have a very good track record at the Mrs. World pageant with a former winner as well as 2 runner-ups at the Mrs. World.
Are you yourself a judge, and do you have any influence on the decision?
I have never served as a judge in Mrs. SA. The only time I'm involved in the process is with the pre-screening of the contestants for participation to ensure that they meet the entry requirements. Mrs. SA is run according to international standards, following a strict audited process, and winners are chosen always by an independent judging panel.
And now, what about the allegations that your partner has acted as an independent auditor in the past?
My partner hasn't had any involvement with Mrs. SA's auditing process since we formed a personal relationship.
Now, it's come to light that Women for Women has actually refunded some contestants in 2019. Tell us more about that.
Women for Women was a very new organization at the time, and its official MPO registration took some months to arrive. Once this was received, the organization was not able to backdate Section 18A certificates for donations already received. They then chose to rather refund those donations in full for those individuals who wish to receive the benefit of tax deduction.
On a separate note, what is the role of mentors? Why are they important? And I think, why do contestants need to pay for their services?
The mentorship program was established in response to a need for advice and guidance from women with experience in the industry. This runs completely independently of Mrs. South Africa, and we do not receive any financial benefit from this program. And mentors are there to act as life coaches and pageant coaches as such, and obviously are reimbursed for their time and expertise, and they definitely do not report back to the Mrs. South Africa office in any way.
Joani, this is a woman empowerment program. We've covered that. But it is also, at its heart, a beauty pageant, and there will always be disgruntled contestants. How do you deal with this?
Nicole, regardless of the hard work that the organization proudly commits to along with its contestants, sponsors and business affiliates, it is unfortunate that disgruntled contestants do exist. In such cases, Mrs. South Africa diligently works to find a solution to address their frustrations. In genuine circumstances, these issues are resolved amicably and contestants remain lifelong proud ambassadors of the organisation.
Joani, do you have any final words you want to share?
Nicole, I think I would like to say that while Mrs. South Africa respects the rights of all individuals, including the freedom of speech, we as an organisation will not allow for its brand to be tainted by unfounded accusations that threaten to derail all the hard work achieved by the brand, the contestants and all our stakeholders who have contributed to making this women empowerment platform the success that it is.
I can only imagine that this has affected you personally. And how do you feel?
Nicole, it has been a very challenging time for me personally, having to deal with this on a daily basis for the past few weeks. And it has affected, my personal well-being. But I realized this week that I need to stand up for all the women that form part of this incredible sisterhood, and that I need to stand up to bullying. We have worked really, really hard to get to where we are today. And when I say we, I don't just mean myself and my team. I mean all the women that have come through this program, such as yourself, that have really worked hard to build this brand to what it is today. And therefore, I realized that I do need to stand up to bullying and not allow false allegations and rumors to tarnish the brand and the reputation that we have built over the years.
Thank you, Joani. Well, there you have it. All of your hard-hitting, tough questions answered. And this is a brave process that I certainly respect. It is one thing to stand up in social platforms and environments and speak your piece, but to actually answer hard-hitting allegations face-to-face in a respectful way, that's the kind of empowered sisterhood that Mrs. South Africa is trying to build.